Yeah, my name's Adam Gould. Been in the area of Midiamo, Maloga for 18 years this year.
Chris Leeds, my name. I live at Pyramid Hill, which is now north of Bendigo. It's reasonably flat, heavy clay country up here. I've been farming since 2000, but my family have been farming in the area since the 1870s.
On the primary farm, the biggest challenge we've got is overstocked country that's been swept. So it's hard to get anything to grow there for a start to then build up organic matter to get the next crop to grow. Like organic carbon levels are really low. So they're very raw. If you put a plough anywhere near them, they just come up really, really raw and sore. So that's a real challenge every year, managing that, I guess.
We've got some of the poorest soils around in the country. We have had a lot of salinity issues in the past due to poor management of irrigation practices. Would be probably the best way to describe why we have salinity issues.
The shallow rooting zone is a real challenge with our poorer soils, particularly even this property we're on here at the moment. To get roots to penetrate, we've got plenty of moisture underneath, but there's just a real barren layer, whether it be a sodic zone or salt. EC level's too high. If we could get that, even drop it by an inch, we'd probably have potentially double of our rooting zone for that.
It's quite exciting that we're able to focus on areas that we as a community group want to focus on and believe that should be focused on to try and improve what we're doing on our own properties. The funding from the FSS group went towards having an independent trial conducted on my property. It meant that I could just provide the land and Birchip Cropping Group were contracted to come and do the work and do all analysis and conduct the trial, so we could get reliable information to see what actually worked. Whereas if I did it, I just haven't got time to manage it properly when you've got a small area, and probably give an unfair bias to the project, to the trial.
What we gained out of a few of the trials, I think, were really, really valuable. Yeah. The main one was we done a subsoil manuring trial here with chicken manure on this property. Well, we done 3 trials really, comparison trials as close to each other as possible to get a real indication of what was working. So we done deep ripped 2 of the sites, exactly the same time. Then we went through and put the chicken manure in a third of the site and then left the other third untouched. And then we put the same amount of chicken manure on top in the third site, so we could tell the difference between whether it was actually the subsoil manuring that was doing the job, whether it was the ripping doing the job, or just the manure by itself. And just to try and compare apples with apples, basically, to give its fairest chance of seeing what's going to do the job. First year we had it in a hay crop, or was targeting silage, but it ended up going to hay, vetch with a bit of canola in it for it to climb up. And it was very hard to do a cut and dried test for yield, but there was some visual benefits. Adam and I cut some of the plants out and measured them, and they were 30% bigger where it was subsoil manured. Where the chicken manure was just by itself, the canola certainly was stronger and flowered for longer. And then where it was ripped by itself, it was harder to see any real benefit. That was first year. This year just gone, it was irrigated wheat, and it was about 700 kilos that we've, it's hard again, but it's about 700 kilos yield benefit where the subsoil manuring was done, and probably about 200 kilos just where it was deep ripped, and there may have actually been a penalty where the manure was by itself.
We have done some trial work here on this property. Looked at pulse growing last year, where we trialled all sorts of different varieties of crops to see how they perform in our area. And it was a rewarding trial. We got great data back from it to prove that yes, we can't grow certain crops, but there was other things that were a bit of a surprise and made me look twice at to see how I can fit that into my current rotation.
It's actually probably bringing, the most rewarding thing I've found is probably bringing some of the farming community together that generally don't share a lot of their techniques and ideas. It's been quite good for passing some ideas over the fence, breaking down a bit of a, I don't know, wouldn't be a culture I'd say, but it'd be something that wasn't generally shared very well around the area. Or there was, that's been a really pleasing thing about the group, with sharing of knowledge and people willing to give other things a go, and I think it's actually improved everyone's bottom line, the group in general, like whether it be direct results of them trying tillage or etc, just better farming practices through being shared through the group have really helped everyone, I think. Connection
with others in our community, just breaking down barriers where people can get together for a feed and a chat and talking about experiences. That's been the greatest thing out of it. And that will continue on after the group finishes up, that connection with others.